Hi guys, welcome to the video, and today what we're talking about is whether or not you should be investing in the Japanese 151 or the English 151. Now guys, the reason why this video has actually come about is because the 151 for the Japanese version has just had a reprint announced, and the distributors are about to get stock and they're about to ship it out, and it's looking like May is when we're going to be seeing Japanese products come on the market, particularly for the 151 set. Japanese sets lately have been a bit strange in terms of they haven't been performing as like kind of everyone hoped, and they've kind of had a bit of a wonky kind of weird 2024, and it's been definitely interesting, and it looks like English is a bit more of a safer hold at the moment, and English is performing a little bit stronger than Japanese. Now, this is really interesting because I think the reprint has caused a massive dilemma for what to invest. Just so you know, and it's pretty important to know the differences between English and Japanese. It's not just that the Japanese have different text on the cards or they're in a different language. There's actually some significant differences between the English 151 and the Japanese. Now, guys, the first and the main difference with the 151, and it's probably the biggest difference and one that's kind of made the Japanese set stand out so much more, is that the Japanese set contain Masterball Reverse Holos. Now guys, for those who don't know what these are, pretty much in every Japanese 151 booster box, it contains one Masterball Reverse Holo. Now the reason why these are so unique is that it has a really gorgeous pattern of Master Balls, and it's a real standout, and it really makes a collecting aspect awesome. I think this is a real shame that English sets didn't get this, and I literally have no idea why they didn't place these in the English set. It's a very poor decision, I think, because you know, with Pokemon having such a big collector part of the market, there is a player base, but you know, Pokemon is a very unique TCG in the fact that there's an enormous collector market. You know, you look at other TCGs like Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's usually swayed that there's more players than collectors. Pokemon is actually on the other side of the continuum, where you got a huge collector base and you also have a decent player base, but you know, we can't kid ourselves with Pokemon. There is a massive collector market within the TCG, and the fact that they didn't cater to that collector audience for the English set is a real shame. So this is a real disappointment, and it makes the Japanese set seem so much better. Now, guys, another key difference between the English 151 and the Japanese 151 is the real estate of the boxes. Now, if you want to collect English 151 sets, you're left with some pretty big boxes, to be honest. Like, your best bet to collect at a decent price is the 151 ETB. And for anyone that collects ETBs, know they are quite bulky to store. For 10 booster boxes inside, you're actually having a really big, enormous box just to get those 10 booster boxes. And then if you want to get the UPC, which is the ultra premium collection for the English version, that is massive. You know, to store these in your home, you need a lot of space, and that's only 16 packs inside, plus some special promos and some other things inside. Then, you know, the real small and the best way to collect Pokemon 151 for English is the booster bundles, but even those, they're completely out of the price category because they're like way more expensive than anything that you can get with the ETB or the UPC. So the Japanese set really overtakes it here because their booster box is really nice, really compact, and it stores really well, and it contains 20 booster boxes inside. Plus, one of the additional bonuses is that booster box also contains a Master Ball Reverse Holo, which makes it so much sweeter, and it just does so much more for the collector. And they really made an oversight by not including these in the English set. So guys, there are some pretty key differences with the Japanese 151 and the English. But I want to go in here and I want to just show you some kind of differences in terms of pricing for some of the cards. And guys, another key difference between Japanese and English sets is that Japanese cards are usually printed much nicer, they're much cleaner cards, and their card quality, their print quality is usually way more levels above the English set. If you've ever opened up a Japanese booster box, you would know exactly what I'm talking about with how pristine the card quality is for a lot of these. But generally speaking, Japanese cards are just very clean, man. And that's the reason why there's such a big Japanese collector audience. One, they love, you know, it just looks so awesome having the original Japanese characters on these cards. You know, they are created originally in Japan, so it really suits the theme. It fits it makes the cards look fantastic. But secondly, the card stock is so much better. The print quality is always better than the English. So that makes a lot of people just gravitate more to Japanese sets than English sets. But let's go into it, guys. Let's check out some of the prices. So right here, I'm on price charting, and I am on the Charizard EX for the Japanese version. And you can see I'm going on the PSA 10, guys. PSA 10 for the Charizard EX for Japanese Scarlet and Violet is 168 US. Compare that with the English counterpart, we can see that there's a pretty significant price difference between the two. The English Charizard is 311 USD for a PSA 10. Quite a big difference in prices. So we can just see with this card that the Charizard is much more valuable in the English as a PSA 10. Although if you haven't watched my other video where I actually go over this, you will see that this card is incredibly low chance of scoring a PSA 10 for Pokemon standards, right? I think it was just a little bit above 50% to score a PSA 10. That's pack fresh too. For Pokemon, that's really low. For other, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, that's considered incredible, but for Pokemon, getting PSA 10s just above 50% is quite low. For comparison, your Umbreon VMAX, you're looking at more like a 75 to 78% chance to score a PSA 10 when you send the pack fresh copy in. So you can see it's a quite enormous difference. You know, I did actually send 2 of these in, both pulled pack fresh, and one came back in 8, one came back in 9. Perfectly fresh out of the pack. So they do have a bit of a quality control issue on these cards. The Venusaur here, we can see the Japanese Scarlet 151. You can see the PSA 10, pretty nice price, $85 for a PSA 10 copy for the Japanese Venusaur. And the English counterpart is sitting at $128. Let's call it $130. So Venusaur and the Charizard are more expensive on their English counterparts. However, the chase card for the Japanese set is the Pikachu Reverse Masterball Holo. And you can see, guys, with the Masterball Reverse Holos, it's not faint or indistinguishable. It is a very clear Masterball Holo pattern. It is very clear to the eye. You can really see it. And there it's appearing, and that's what it looks like. And you can see the PSA 10 currently sells for $470 US. So the chase card in this compared to the Charizard, which is the chase with English, really, really high. Of course, though, pretty rare to get this card as well, let's not forget. The second one on the list is the Gengar Masterball Reverse Holo, and that's sitting at $322 US for the PSA 10 copy. Really expensive card. Awesome though to see that there is good chase cards in the Japanese sets. And of course the Mew is a standout for the Japanese card because they didn't get it as a promo. We got the Mew in the Ultra Premium collection, so it's not that expensive for the English. In fact, it's actually quite cheap. Whereas you can see the Japanese Mew is $133. And what a gorgeous card. Man, what an amazing Mew artwork. This is fantastic. Really love this card. And of course the Japanese one is superior here because you can't actually just pull it out of like a promo pack. It's not guaranteed. You know, it is quite a difficult card to pull. But that's really some of the cards comparing the prices, just so you get an idea. So obviously the Charizard is the chase for the English, and then the Japanese have the Master Ball Reverse Holos that make them really special. But guys, going into this, it's the area where I want to focus on now is the question comes, what is the better investment? Because you have the English and the Japanese, and there's a few different key differences between the two, and it really comes down to, hey guys, what is the better investment out of the two? Well, guys, my answer for that is it's funny because right before the reprint, I would have said English is far better investment because how expensive the Japanese 151 booster boxes are. You could get much more English product and pretty much fill your plate with more English product at a better price, and your chance of falling or any risk was low because you were pretty much buying it at retail, or you could maybe get an ETB or a UPC a little bit below retail if you shop around, and you would be in a better position. The reprint has caused a very big difference in my thinking now, because you do have, and it has to be said, that the Japanese 151 is better in every way, shape or form to the English counterpart. No questions asked, and it's very hard to debate. The only real thing that you have to say that the English 151 is better is the fact that they're in English, in the English language, right? Which is obviously like we all speak English, or if you do, you know, that you want to, you know, a lot of people are collecting in their own language, which is completely fine and normal. But in terms of what's the actual better product, I think it's objectively, it's the Japanese 151. You've got better card stock. You've got far better, it caters more to the collector audience. And the real estate of actually holding on to sealed product is just far easier to store. And to be honest, I think the booster box looks far better than the ETB or the UPC. So it's also a visual thing. It nearly beats English in every category besides price. But guys, if I have to be real, I do think now, given the reprint and we don't know where prices are going to go, I would be very, very careful of overextending yourself, because I do have a feeling, this is just total feeling, that the Japanese 151, they're going to go hard on this, as in like getting the product out there. And I think a lot of people have already gone very heavy, and I think the people who have already invested have gone heavy into it. So I think now it's like, are they really going to now put more and more money into it, or are they just going to sit back and see what happens? I've got a feeling that Japanese 151 right now is going to be, especially with this reprint, it's going to be a really unique window. And I've got a good feeling that it might see some really unique growth in the future, given the fact that it's already gone up. So you've now got some social proof, hey, it can go there. So in terms of what's the better set, before this reprint, I would have said English. I definitely would have said English because of exactly for this reason, because reprints can completely just tumble you down, and there's far less risk. But depending where the Japanese booster boxes go, I do think Japanese would be the better buy. Although we have to see where prices go down. If prices do not move too much down with this reprint, English still may be better because we don't know how far it can go. We don't know if they're going to reprint more. But guys, at the moment, with the fact that also the Japanese market is a little bit, it's a bit touch and go at the moment. We've seen booster boxes go down. Seal product hasn't had the best kind of run in 2024 with Japanese products. I do think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with these sets. But guys, I'd really like to know your thoughts on if you're going to be picking up some Japanese 151. It really makes me interested to see what's going to be happening with this. Now guys, I suppose the real question that comes out of this, and after all this has been said, is, well, why is Pokemon 151 such a good investment? Guys, the answer to that question is in this video, which I'm going to link for you right now, and you guys can go check it out, and I cover that in great detail. I'll see you guys there.